All right, so it's just about time for the divisional round. It was a good wild card weekend in terms
Great
of
wild card weekend.
in terms of quality games. So there was a lot of biggest upset was Seahawks Saints, but we're going to look ahead to the divisional round. Drew Woods, Josh Barron on off and running as always. So let's talk about the first game, the brawl of the AFC East as it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean they're all. I mean the AFC has two great matchups. Well, let's talk about the Jets-Pats first.
Let's talk about it. It's going to be a match of wits of Rex Ryan versus Mr. Belichick. And, what's your keys to the game?
My key to the game is obviously the Jets' defense because they cannot let the Patriots go out there and put up 45 points again. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, you don't see that happen too often where, a playoff game is an absolute blowout like that, and I really don't think it will be.
Absolutely.
It's just the Jets' D needs to play like it did last week. And last week they played great D. They ran the ball, which is another Jets key right there, and they play Jets football. They need to stick to Jets football and not switch up their game just because they're playing the big bad Patriots of the East.
The first thing that makes me laugh a little bit is when all the Jets people, Rex Ryan included, go, let's play Jets football, which to me is, finding a way to cough it up at the end. Typical Jets, as the old adage is. Apparently it's not typical Jets anymore. Surprise, surprise, boo-hoo for me. I think I don't know what the forecast is going to be for this weekend. If I were the Jets, I'd be actually hoping for snow because that'll take away more of your own passing, which I still think the Jets pass too much. Except I like it when they throw to Keller from your perspective, but I still think they're looking at Holmes too much. They're looking at Braylon Edwards too much. Even though they don't use Kotri enough, I think Kotri is way underused by the Jets. I would love him to play for the Colts, but that's just me. I think they need to be running the ball. I think it's got to be Sean Green 20 touches. It's got to be Tomlinson 20 touches, and that's the way they have to try to win this game. It's gotta be a running game for the Pats, and the Pats have played phenomenal. I'm not gonna take it away from them, but they can be beaten. I remember Peyton Hillis running up a storm on them in Cleveland. It was a beating, and if I were the Jets, that's the game I'd be looking at. That's the game I'm trying to replicate. Is run. Just run it 3 times in a row. Let them try to stop you. It's gonna be, for me, the key is gonna be Vince Wilfork versus Mangold and versus the guards.
Right. And as far as the Patriots, they're gonna be passing the ball. And if you're the Jets, you need to put pressure on Tom Brady this game. If he gets too comfortable back there, he's going to light him up. He's going to throw for 350 yards and throw a couple of touchdowns.
Yep.
And the thing is, he's kind of in the sense like Peyton Manning in the fact where he's got these 2 rookie tight ends, and he's got some wide receivers, aren't the biggest names in the world, and he's making them look great out there.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's why I would kind of want the snow. If I were a Jet fan, if I want the Jets to win, you want as much snow, you want as much bad weather as possible.
So you have a better running game. Jets have a better running game than the Patriots do.
Absolutely.
And if it snows, it takes away that pass game just a little bit from Tom Brady.
I mean,
and you never know how that could help.
Between the Midwestern Midget and the law firm, I mean, this is not exactly the greatest running game. And clearly I'm talking about Danny Woodhead and Jarvis Green-Ellis. That's not... I mean, the Patriots... They are not giving enough credit to their running game back when they won their 3 Super Bowls out of 4 years, back in the early part of the decade. And this defense wasn't as good as it was. This is a completely different team. I don't want to take anything away from Tom Brady, because he's a marvelous quarterback. He's going to go down as maybe the greatest, if not, bare minimum, top 7, top 6.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But it's not like he did a ton, especially in the first 2 Super Bowls. He didn't do a lot in those. But, he's a great quarterback, and if the Jets want bad weather, you want to have this ball not be thrown all over the place by Tom Brady to Branch, to Welker, to Tate, to all of the plethora of receivers they have. While they're not big names, they're equitable,
right,
as I would like to say. But I think the Jets definitely have a realistic chance to win. I think that the Pats are not this all-powerful conquering team that some people believe them to be.
So what's your prediction on this game?
I think it's going to be close. I really do. I think that the Darrelle Revis and Cromartie, I think this game's going to be more on Cromartie. They are going to have to both play phenomenal. If the weather if it's a decent weather game, sun's out, those two are going to have to play phenomenal. Darrelle Revis, as you said last week, played great. I think it's going to be somewhat low scoring, maybe 21-17 in favor of the Pats. But I think it's going to be close.
Rex is hungry. He wants a snack. I got the Jets in this one. 27-24.
Could you possibly go any other way? You're riding the high. Have fun with it.
Gotta go with it.
Then we've got the brutal game of the North. We've got Ravens and the Steelers. This is going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be an interesting one, to be honest. What do you think is going to happen?
This is going to be a fantastic game to watch. Two physical teams out there. Just absolutely hard-hitting, hard-nosed teams going at it. It's the rivalry, of course. As far as the Steelers, Roethlisberger, he's been a little inconsistent this year. He's got to come up big because if Polamalu's out there, which he will be, it's a great defensive team, and the defense is going to show up.
Well, what I would say is in the NFL right now, I don't think there's any great defenses, and I know Troy Polamalu makes that team a lot better. It makes that defense a hell of a lot better, but I personally, in the way I've watched the NFL this year, there is no true great defense.
I have to agree. I mean, last year the Jets were considered like the defense of the NFL.
Yeah, and we all know how that one ended.
Yeah,
They had 30 points put up on the Colts.
There really isn't that team this year who just absolutely dominates everything.
I mean, yes, the Ravens have good players on defense, Ray Lewis, Natot, Suggs, but that secondary can easily be thrown on. I think that's a very questionable secondary on the Ravens. And McFadden on the Steelers, I would attack him all day long. All day long. Absolutely. This game, though, I think it's going to come down to the quarterbacks, who's having the better day between Flacco and between Roethlisberger. And from what I've seen over the past couple of years at Ben Roethlisberger, there's no reason for me to doubt him. I think he's still an underrated quarterback. I really like some of the receivers for the Steelers that have good games, especially Hines Ward, especially Wallace. I'm going to go with the Steelers in this game.
So I like the Ravens in this game. The Ravens, in my opinion, play a lot like the Jets, which makes sense with Rex Ryan coming from the Ravens. They got to come out, they got to run the ball, establish the play action for Flacco so he can make those big plays. He can roll out, he can run the ball, all that stuff. And the defense has to come out hard and put pressure on Roethlisberger. I know Roethlisberger is tough to take down, but still, if you put pressure on any quarterback, doesn't matter who it is, it's going to make his job a lot harder. And I think the Ravens do that this week, and I got the Ravens by 7.
All right, I think this is gonna be a fun game. I really do. We got Bears Seahawks. Seahawks. Wow, what an amazing game they had. Marshawn Lynch was definitely the run of the season. Oh my god.
Replicating Steve Young out there. My gosh.
Unbelievable by Marshawn Lynch and Matt Hasselbeck played great. You don't know where after the season where the Seahawks are gonna go in quarterback, where they're gonna draft a new one. I think they will, but for right now today.
Hasselbeck's our quarterback.
Hasselbeck is our quarterback. He played outstanding against the Saints. My lord. So kudos to them. But now they're leaving the friendly confines of home, and they've got to play on the road at Chicago. When Seahawks play at home, they're a much different team. I said that they might have a chance to beat the Saints at home. But the Bears, they're not going to pull this one out, are they?
I really don't think they're going to pull this out. I'm the one who said they had no chance last week, and now they're going on the road. I mean, Seattle is one of the toughest places to play in the NFL, and they're not in Seattle anymore. No. They're going to Chicago, and Chicago loves their Bears. I mean, that's really all there is to it. That home field advantage for the Bears. You got to hope Jay Cutler goes out there and just doesn't start, going all Brett Favre on us and hucking and chucking interceptions, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I really do not see the Seahawks pulling this one out.
Hey, you just mentioned Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler, one of my favorite NFL players. I love the way he just hucks the ball with no regard. He's a nice Brett Favre in my opinion.
Brett Favre. This guy's got a serious attitude.
He's my type of guy. He's super competitive. He does what he wants to win, and he just hucks it. I love his confidence. His I'm gonna put this ball through a window with no regard of what actually happens. I love that in a quarterback. He is absolutely my type of guy. Like I said, a big Jay Cutler fan. I'm hoping the Bears win. I hope Cutler throws for 5 touchdowns. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm gonna take the Bears. I don't know, 10 or 13 points about. I'll put it at about 23-13. I think that sounds about
makes
right.
sense. I was going to say about a 10-point game. I'll go 27-17.
Yeah, I don't see how the Seattle can duplicate their performance on
I
the
mean,
road.
I think Seattle might come out hot at the beginning just because they have all that confidence riding, but then reality's going to hit, and the Bears are just a better football team.
One big play could change that game and just
Exactly.
reverse momentum. It's going to come about, whenever it happens, it's just going to swing momentum. And then last week, we got the Falcons and we got the Packers, two of the hot young quarterbacks. And, I mean, you really can't even call them young anymore because they're established veterans now.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, the MVP. He's nothing short of fantastic.
You want to talk about underrated quarterback, there you go.
Aaron Rodgers, I think the world of him. He could absolutely flat out play football. And, Falcons, Matt Ryan, no slouch either. Guy's lost 2 home games in 3 years. I mean, what more do you need to say? So I think I think this is actually gonna be the game of the weekend. I'm really looking forward to this one. Which is weird for me to say. I've got Peyton Manning as my team, but I don't think I've ever been so excited to see 2 quarterbacks face off in a non-Peyton Manning game. I'm hoping they had played earlier in the season. The Falcons edged out the Packers. I'm really hoping for a game just as good as that one, and I'm thinking it will be.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be a high-scoring game, and it's going to be a close high-scoring game, kind of like with the Packers last year. The Falcons they got to establish that running game, Michael Turner, and obviously Matt Ryan's going to do his thing out there. I mean, he's going to have a big game. He's got Roddy White, one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Absolutely.
They're going to put up points. Packers are going to put up a lot of points too with Aaron Rodgers. I think this is going to be 35, 29 games, something like that.
That's a good score. I'm not going to disagree with that score. I think it's going to be high scoring, and I think that the Packer defense, I think, has absolutely stepped up in recent weeks. They played brilliantly against the Eagles last week. Clay Matthews got to be Defensive Player of the Year. He has been fantastic. I'm going to go with the Packers in this game. Very, very close. 31-28. Maybe a last-second field goal.
What a game that would be.
So those are our thoughts on the divisional weekend ahead, and stay tuned off and running. That's Drew Woods and Josh Barron as always. Stay tuned.